agenda request by Ms. Nancy Schertler.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to summarize quickly. It's got a lot of the
And
detail,
Ms.
as you
Schertler
can
is
see.
here if there are any questions.
But Ms. Schertler's requesting time on your agenda to discuss and ask for a vote on whether the Board of Commissioners will continue to make your appointments to boards and commissions in a closed session or move these work sessions to an open session format.
So we're clear, this is a motion to add, this is an external agenda request to put this on a future agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? Well, I will second that so we can have some discussion. I'm assuming that the failure to get a second from someone other than the chair, does anybody want to share their point of view so that we can? Commissioner Robinson?
I see this as just getting it on the agenda for discussion, so I don't think we need to commit to how we feel about this. And so I think that we cannot just be transparent when it's convenient.
Okay. Any other comments?
I
Commissioner Collins?
would comment because I don't think it's appropriate to have this as an agenda item. This has been explored before, and I certainly respect the interests and concerns raised by Ms. Schertler. Prior to our meeting, I wanted to get a better sense by talking to her directly. There was actually a request earlier by a county resident to what essentially would be going beyond the scope of Article 66 of the code, which clearly establishes this as being something that's done in closed session, these type of deliberations. Most specifically, and I think the issue that needs to be addressed is the privacy issues associated with this type of commentary. It's well-established law. I mean, certainly, I am someone who is a strong advocate of constitutional issues, and if I saw in any way this was an affront to the basic rights of our citizens to hear, then it raises the specter of at what point does any deliberation that is done as it relates to become a member of a commission or an appointee, for example, when the president makes an appointment, and I'm saying the president of the United States, should that be done in an open session? There's deliberations and there's privacy matters associated with talking about the general interests of the individuals involved. And so, although I respect, the spirit of wanting the county to look at everything in a transparent basis, I was very clear in asking Ms. Schertler as well, if there were authorities that we could look at to help us establish this is a guideline, I'm certainly willing to look at that. But the county has looked at this before, and that's why, I was saying that it wouldn't be appropriate for this to be an agenda item.
Thank you. Commissioner?
I agree with what Commissioner Collins said.
Commissioner Davis, any comments?
Yes, we've already dealt with, as Commissioner Collins has said, we've already dealt with it legally. And I'd take it 2 steps forward that we've already, that I don't think is appropriate on our agenda, and I don't want to start the precedent that this type of stuff is put on the commissioner's agenda. I think it doesn't directly deal with the business of the county. I think we have other methods of dealing with the transparency, and from hearing from our subjects, I stand in correction of that word, of the public. We have several methods instituted. We all have town hall meetings. We have our public forums, and that's the way we hear from the citizens, not necessarily on our agenda.
Commissioner Robinson?
Question for Attorney Holtz. If memory serves me correctly.
So now it's on the agenda. See, if we're going to have the open discussion, then it's already on the agenda. So.
Well, let me just let him finish, and then we'll call for the question.
I'm just looking for clarification on Article 66B. Does not compel us to have this in closed session. It allows us to. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir. We got an opinion from the Attorney General that discussions about appointments could properly be held in closed session.
Thank you.
I think the applicant should have
Closed or open?
Okay,
Can be held in closed,
Can be held.
but it's not compelled to be held
okay.
in closed.
And so let's have order here, okay. Commissioner Rucci?
I just think the applicant should have privacy, and it shouldn't be an open session. I mean, just,
Commissioner Davis?
I object that we're
To
having the
this
discussion,
conversation, okay.
even though, because now it's on the agenda.
Well, Commissioner Collins?
Again, I request for any citizen that is concerned about this, if you can show an authority, show where another jurisdiction has this open conversation, I would be glad to look at this.
And just to finalize here before we take the vote, for me, this is very, very simple. I believe that transparency is essential. No question about that. However, when some of these discussions, some of these boards, the applicants, there are lots of things to consider. Educational background, if they have experience that's appropriate for the board, those sorts of things. And I think it would be very unfair to kind of have those kinds of discussions that could be perceived as, well, in many different ways, in public. However, I think this opens the door for us to think about, just in general, how we prepare our boards, indoctrinate our boards, et cetera. And I think Commissioner Davis has mentioned that we're having this on the agenda.
Yes.
But I think it's important for Ms. Schertler to be shown the respect of understanding why, where we all stand in terms of putting this on the agenda. And so without, is everything okay, Tyler? Okay. So we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Okay, and Ms. Schertler, we certainly would love to be able to continue the dialogue in terms of other ways that we can perhaps be more transparent, and I'm sure you'll make sure that you bring that to our attention. Next, we have the benefit